Welcome to the latest in the Compliance Factory's series of conversations about anti-money laundering. My name is Adam Samuel, and I'm here with Malachy McClelland, anti-money laundering expert, to discuss what goes wrong with remediation projects. The first place to start is to ask that question. What does go wrong?
Well, I think the question to ask is, why are you remediating anything in the first place? What's wrong with your current procedures in your business as usual? Why do you have to remediate at all? So you need to put that right, find out what it was. For example, if it's client due diligence, why don't you have the correct client due diligence on file? Is there something wrong with your onboarding procedures? So you need to make sure that's right before. Certainly before you finish your remediation project, you need to make sure that you've got your business as usual in place. Then after that, the projects itself can go wrong if they're not properly planned before starting. You need to know what the scope of the project is. Otherwise, you can end up with what's commonly known as scope creep, so that later on the project starts to expand because it hasn't been nailed down properly at the outset what it is you're trying to do. You need to ensure that all the stakeholders have bought into the project. Senior management, MLRO, project manager, everyone knows what it is they're doing. So if you need to make sure that's properly planned out at the outset. You then need to ensure, what very often happens is that the project hasn't properly started. You've got all of these people on board not doing anything because the actual management haven't decided what it is they're doing. So they've taken in a team without actually deciding how we're going to do this. That happens very often. Consultancy firms might bring in a team of people, but 3 or 4 weeks down the line, they haven't actually started the project. So that can lead to spiraling costs. You also need to make sure that everyone knows what they're doing. So that if you have a quality assurance function, where they fit, who reports into who, do they report into the MLRO, then the MLRO is their project board, and does everyone know where they fit in the project? But if that's not in place, that can become a problem. For example, you could have a project manager reporting somewhere down the line, oh, we have 50% of this project is completed. But the quality assurance function might be saying, well, we haven't seen this work. We've only seen, say, 10%. Where is the work? So you need proper management information and proper reporting structures. And if you have that all in place at the outset, then you're well on your way to getting the project done smoothly.
To what extent is the project manager crucial here?
Well, it plays a pivotal role because the project manager is the person who's responsible for the day-to-day running of the project. So the project board will have set out what it is they want to achieve. The project manager should know what resources are needed to actually carry out the day-to-day running of the project. The project manager should also be able to have input into the resources needed and how long it's going to take. That can be a problem later on in a project. It overruns the time and therefore the costs set out at the outset.
You mentioned project creep. What else causes overruns?
Yeah, scope creep's one problem. Overruns can be caused by not having the right people at the outset who would know how long, a remediation, for example, on a client account, how long that would take, and what could be the issues that would hold that up. You would need to know what tools they're using, for example, to do screening. The other thing could happen is there may be a disconnect between the business, the front line, and the second line of defence, as to what was required and whether or not the front line was aware that maybe they had a lot of input into this project, and they may not have the resource, because one of the problems very often with a remediation project is that it impacts on the everyday business of the firm.
And that resource question, there are examples of people asking for a small amount of resource and ending up spending, vastly more because they didn't get it in the first place.
Well, that's right. You know, we're at one case where an MLRO had asked for, I think, £100,000 to put right, you know, the issues around client due diligence, and was turned down by the board, and the remediation project subsequently cost around 3 million.
Last question: procedures. What role do they play?
Well, firms should, when you're doing a remediation project, the project and the people working on the project should be aware of the firm's procedures, whether it be, for example, on client due diligence. And there should be a project procedure. There should be a project procedure not only in how you actually remediate an account, for example, but what are the reporting lines if something crops up, who to turn to, that sort of thing. So people can, there's something readily available where people can look to know how the project is meant to run and should help the smooth running of the project.
So not having these two sets of procedures, the business as usual and the remediation project procedure, would be something that might trigger an overrun or just general poor delivery.
But you certainly need procedures for the project, and as I say, they're possibly going to be different to the actual business as usual procedures, because you're doing a project. There may be different requirements, and there may be a decision may be made at the outset as to what they're going to look for in remediation, where they may have been looking for more from a client, for example, at onboarding.
Thank you very much.